It's that time of year when writers all over the world attempt something absolutely insane, writing an entire novel in just 30 days. Welcome to CC Writes, where we explore good stories and how they're made. My name is CC Lepke. Today, I'm brainstorming and plotting my novel for NaNoWriMo. If you don't know, NaNoWriMo is a writing event held every November where writers are challenged to complete a 50,000 word novel in 30 days, which is basically like writing a novel on hard mode. It is, without a doubt, the definition of insanity. It's also a lot of fun, with writers building community and coming together for write-ins to support one another and build up those precious word counts. November has been my favorite holiday, and yes, I consider the entire month a holiday, ever since I was first introduced to NaNoWriMo as a teenager. This year, I want to take you along for my Nano adventure. Today, the focus is on planning a story, but before I begin, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell notification button so you can get notified when I post more content. Now, let's get started. Last week, I created my timeline and I filled out my pacing structure for my NaNoWriMo story. This week, I'm going to work on character development and world development. For character development, I created a simple spreadsheet with a few specific line items that help me get a three-dimensional understanding of my characters. It covers everything from name and appearance to self-perception and the first impression that an outsider might have of this character. I wrote out all of the major characters and then filled in the worksheet one by one. At first, I planned on giving the main character borderline personality disorder, but it didn't seem to fit her background and self-image, so I reserved that for one of her co-workers later in the story. I only do a character worksheet for the major actors, but I can easily create more at need later on. My primary goal is to make each of these characters well-rounded and make sure I'm not allowing myself to be biased over how a person in their position should behave. I'm more focused on creating a personality, and when I write, I try to figure out how that personality reacts in the situation they're in. I also try not to demonize or glorify any particular character. They all have good and bad points, and I don't want to hate my characters. I want to love them and all the things they do, which is much more enjoyable to write. So you'll notice that even in the characters that are supposed to be hated within the story, I actually give them positive characteristics to focus on. That way I can really think through who they are as a person, as opposed to just making them a villain. My main character turned out to be a decent mix of insecure and arrogant. She's a neat freak and genuinely a bad fit for employment at a strip club. Her greatest flaw is that she always sees herself as a victim, which fuels a lot of what she does. I made her sister a little sloppier with less education and much lower self-esteem. Despite that, she's a really nice person who easily gains the respect of people around her. It's the little things that really help your characters come alive. That's why I included verbal and physical tics or habits for each person. You'll notice it in friends and family. There are certain words or phrases they always use, or a movement that always lets you know it's them even if you don't consciously think about it. When I'm upset, my face goes completely still and I don't move my lips much when I talk. I say, "Well, that's nice," and "that doesn't sound fun," all the time in conversation. Other people don't quite speak or act like me. It should be the same for my characters because they're people too. So I finished off the rest of my characters: a duplicitous police officer, a grandma's boy of a drug lord, a sleazy police commissioner, and an untrusting stripper. The next step is to define my world. I didn't want this to be set in a real place, mostly because I would feel bad negatively representing a real-life place. So I'm basing my city off of Houston, Austin, and San Antonio in Texas. I'm placing it near the border, in the deep south, and I'm gonna try to give it its own culture. This is similar to Superman's Metropolis or Batman's Gotham City. Each place feels like it could be an American city, but it's also distinctly its own place, and that's what I'm going for. And that is where census data comes in. I know generally how big the city is, and I can make sure my residents reflect what that area generally looks like. So I used the census data to get approximate population estimates and a lot of other demographic and social information to really hone in on a true-to-life city. So I grab my data and I supplement it as needed so I can get everything I need to nail down the cultural environment. I've only ever really visited Texas on a couple of occasions, and so I don't really have a great idea of what it looks like to live there. And especially the deeper south you get, the less experience I have. And since I've only seen a small portion with a small subculture, I need a more broad view of what the place would look and feel like. This information is really important so I can get a good grasp of how to convey the world to my readers. It's also helpful to have reference images for characters so you can keep a consistent idea of what they look like. I usually draw it myself, but this isn't an art channel, and I'm short on time, so I'm going to use photos that I find instead. In the end, I grabbed regional artwork, city photos, and reference for the climate and geography of the region. Altogether, this will help me keep a nice idea of what my world looks like. So that's it for my Nano prep work. Next week, I'm going to be starting in on more of a daily vlog kind of thing, keeping track of my progress and letting you see where I am. So make sure you stay tuned, because next week you get to see my trials and successes and possibly failures in climbing Mount Nano. Thank you for watching CC Writes. If you enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also hit the bell so you can get notified when new videos come out. If you have any specific writing topics you'd like me to cover, go ahead and leave a comment below, and I'll go over as many subjects as I can. And if you want more content from me, then you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at @CCLepkeWrites. My books are also available through Amazon.com. You can find them easily just by searching CC Lepke. Thanks again for watching, and have a good week!